Okay, let's get the first word. The biggest story for Nigeria. The president, Buhari, is there in the White House today with the presser later in the evening, dinner time here in Lagos. Let's get the first word on this from Bismarck Rewane, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Financial Derivatives Company and Channels Television economic contributor. Good morning, sir. This is one very big day for Nigeria. This is the first president in sub-Saharan Africa making a White House visit. Give us your first take on this.
I think it's very important and significant that being the first African country to visit the Trump administration after the unprintable words that were said about African countries in thatch houses and all of that in the past. So this is an opportunity for the United States to mend fences and also an opportunity for Nigeria to take advantage of its position. One, Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa, and secondly, Nigeria is the biggest market in Africa for the United States at this point in time.
What President Buhari said to be in Washington, not only with government officials, but some heavyweights in Nigeria's business. And of course, we all smelled Aliko Dangote there with him. And he will also be having a few other discussions outside the White House with business leaders on how to bring in very critical investment that the country needs. But first, what do you expect to hear from President Buhari tonight, 6:30 Nigerian time, when that press conference gets started?
Most important is that it's going to situate Nigeria in the context of U.S. strategic foreign policy. This is an era of economic diplomacy. So Buhari is going to be telling the United States that, look, we import 8.3% of our total imports into Nigeria from the United States, made up of aircraft equipment, made up of oil equipment, made up of so many things, including investments, including wheat. Also, it's going to say that we export 10.2% of our exports to the United States, mainly mineral oils, artificial flowers, and so on and so forth. Now, what does this mean to America? Trump is a bilateralist. He's not a multilateralist. Trump is somebody who talks about deals. So as far as it's concerned, here is 10.2% of my market, and here is 8.3% of my suppliers. So Nigeria is very important. It's a big population. It's strategic in terms of the military cooperation and commission. So this is important. Who are the guys he's going to have on the table? He has ExxonMobil. In fact, the Minister of Petroleum, State of Petroleum, is an ExxonMobil veteran. He's going to have Schlumberger. He's going to have General Electric. He's going to have almost all the big suppliers, and he's going to have Microsoft. And Bill Gates was here. On the other side, Dangote, who are major importers of wheat, major importers of equipment, and who are the refineries and all of those things going to come together. So there is a mutual coincidence of needs. There is a mutual reinforcement of interests. So I think that it's a good one for Nigeria, and Nigeria has to play to the strengths and its sense of comparative advantage at this time.
What should President Buhari look to extract from President Trump as a promise that we can hold on to in terms of trade, bilateral relations, beyond oil?
First and foremost, we need to cooperate with them. The United States is not part of OPEC, but we need to see that our interests, the first thing is going to be about security cooperation, one. Two is going to be about technological transfer and support across intellectual property support. And also, we are going to be talking about how the United States can help us strategically in terms of creating a West African hub so that there'll be trade flows within West African countries, and Nigeria will be the actual hub and the point of the center of gravity of its African foreign policy. Also, there's going to be a conversation around Trump is going to try and discourage Nigeria from buying or taking investments from China. That we will have to resist because, the more the merrier, but there are some advantages to doing business with the U.S. because of the quality and the long tradition between us. There's also some advantage of having the transfers and transactions. Don't forget that almost all the foreign investments, international investment that comes from the private equity funds and the international banks and credit ratings are all going to be centered in the United States. So we need the U.S. and President Buhari is going to be saying that we are a replica of the U.S. formula of democracy in Africa. We have the presidential system here, and we can uphold those same values as long as we can reinforce ourselves from a point of security, our problems with Al-Qaeda, our problems with ISIS, our problems with Boko Haram. They will try and actually identify themselves and have a mutual reinforcement of security.
Mr. Rewane, let's continue this. Let's continue this conversation tomorrow. Respectfully, there we have the whole time tomorrow to go over this, among other bigger issues on our Labor Day. May the 1st. We are the workers. Let's turn this conversation around tomorrow in 24 hours. Bismarck Rewane from Financial Derivatives Company. Join us tomorrow, same time, 10 o'clock in the morning, to continue this conversation on Business Morning. Bye for now.